How do you order food for the office these days? How do you make sure it's on time and as ordered? How can you get it individually packaged? How? EasyCater. When you order on EasyCater.com, the food comes as ordered and on time 98% of the time. And when there's a problem, which is practically never,
thank you for calling EasyCater.
you can reach someone in about 9 seconds. How do you order 24/7 from more than 80,000 restaurants? How? EasyCater. Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2,904. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Robin Fox, and my cock, Montgomery. Are in the men's room. On tap today, who sucks less? The return of Ask the Men's Room. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, the Men's Room Shot of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite TV Time with Ted. Clack, clack, jinkity junk. All right, here we go. Man making sausage in his garage prefers to make sausage by hand. Meanwhile, passenger who charged the cockpit to charge his phone is now from the airline permanently banned. Florida teacher fired after 17 years for giving students who didn't turn papers in a 0. A man who stole $96,000 from an employer is now everyone's new hero. And for some reason, college president has to apologize for doing a beer bong. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, like Bill Cosby before him, he continues to collect accusations of sexual misconduct. Now, a third woman has come forward. One of the differences in her story, she alleges that Kavanaugh and some friends, they would spike the punch at parties with drugs and booze to make women easier targets, all right? Now, that was pretty much Bill Cosby's MO. As we all heard for months, Bill apparently would spike the drinks and then do his thing. He, by the way, was just sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. Keep that in mind, 3 to 10 years in prison for the charges against him. There's an employee at Comerica Park in the stadium in Detroit. He's facing 4 years in prison. Why? Because he was busted spitting a loogie on a customer's pizza. It's disgusting. But spitting a loogie on a customer's pizza, 48 months. And the thing is, we're not even sure if that person actually swallowed it or if they just saw it. Because sometimes just getting something in your mouth, that's bad enough. A guy in England, he could not get his money back for his hamburger after he found hairs on it. He took a picture of it, and it's pretty revolting. I'll be honest with you. They wouldn't give him his money back. Because most people, the idea of a stranger's hair in their mouth kind of grosses you out. Well, there's a guy in Alabama, he intentionally chewed off and swallowed a woman's hair. Why? He was on methamphetamine. I don't believe there was any other reason. And then there's a story of a guy in a dispute. They made him shave off and eat his own beard. Look, man, everybody's had something weird in their mouth. Everyone has swallowed something strange. Sometimes you did it on purpose. Sometimes it happens by accident. And that's what today's question is. Whether you wanted it to or not, what ended up in your mouth?
Be part of the big show. Call 844-999. Ola, you can like The Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send your emails to themensroom at mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitch, hola. You have entered the men's room.
Hold it, y'all's hand. Away we go. Welcome to show number 2,904. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. This is a guaranteed future repeat, as once again, Steve the Thrill Hill brings us 3 stories from the news. It is up to us to determine which of these 3 stories suck the least. It is time once again for Who Sucks Less. Based on what you were saying in the office, Swabin, I don't want to know too much information, but you seem to believe that these were not in the greatest taste as far as the content
They
of the
suck.
stories.
These people suck. It's never going to be in great taste.
And we'll figure out which one of the 3 sucks the least. Return to Mass Men's Room coming up. We'll drink and toast with a shot of the day and another round of Profile This. And today we want to know whether you wanted it or not, what ended up in your mouth. If you're following along here on the CNN and the Fox News of the world, you know that there is another accuser who comes with some stories about the potential of Brett Kavanaugh making it to the Supreme Court. I'll just cut to the quick here. She writes in college that she avoided drinking the punch at parties in 1981 and 82 after allegedly learning that Kavanaugh, Judge, and others in this group of people were spiking it with drugs or alcohol, so to cause girls to lose their inhibitions. This is one
That's
thing.
a new part of an accusation, right?
I'm pretty sure I've had spiked punch, but I don't think I've had drugged. I don't think I've ever had a drugged beverage before.
Right.
Of any type. Not that I.
Oh, you don't remember?
Well, that's what I mean. You know what I mean? Not to my knowledge do I know that I have I have heard of it a lot. You know, my daughter has friends who.
Well, wait. Didn't your one buddy?
You
I know
have a
it's
story
different.
about this.
Didn't he drop acid in like your beer or something?
Right.
Right. I mean, I know his intent was different.
Listen. Okay,
His intent was different, but you did get dosed. You would not have known he did it except the fact that he told you, and then you had to go to work.
Here's the thing. I am familiar with what acid is and what it does. So what I'm saying is, outside of that perspective, you know,
I got you.
If you were to douse the punch with vodka, I've had vodka. Right. I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, now if you were to put like in meth, I'd be like, dude, what's going on here?
Because I really like this punch.
Like, to me, it's not like. Just because I've done it before doesn't make it okay. I'm just, do you understand what I mean?
So I can't spike your drink with acid.
No, I mean, like, it's just weird. You like spike it with something that I've never not had.
So this has never happened to me. I'm like,
yeah,
you have legit a story about this happening to you.
Well, but it was just acid. Like, I've never had like the date raid drug, like this crap or whatever the hell's going on. So I got that one story. All right. So that's now a third accuser. And you, Ted, you grew up in the area of these prep schools. You'd not, I mean, and you said that your school, which was a private Catholic school, which is an all guys school, this was like a weird league, a richer league above you?
Oh,
it's not a richer league. I mean, no offense, bro.
Right.
I got to think what he's rolling
the cheapest in the conference, right?
Okay.
Part of the reason we get all the good athletes, too. People could afford our school. But Georgetown Prep is over in Montgomery County on Rockville Pike. I mean, they literally have a 9-hole golf course. Like, we would go over there on Saturdays to play JV golf.
Did they wear sweaters over their shoulders? I mean, it's like one of those
they're
places?
just different. Like, I only interacted with any of those dudes, like, twice in my whole high school time, right? Now, any other Catholic private school, like, we hung out with them all the time.
Sure.
But only twice that I ever interacted with those Georgetown Prep guys, and they were adults. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but they were just,
well, you gotta remember,
they were so rich, and they just partied different.
But you know what they are? I mean, and I don't say this to sound derogatory. I just think this because to me it seems accurate. They're like show dogs in the dog world, right? So they're all dogs, but there's something about show dogs. They cannot interact with the other dogs. They don't want you touching their dogs.
Show dogs are on board.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of like
no one else puts a sign on their car.
They're right. They're dogs, but show dog. They have this weird thing where you don't even look at them that long, for Christ's sake.
And the other thing you got to understand too is those dudes live there. Like, it's a giant, like, this isn't like a high school, you think of a high school. It's a giant campus, and they all live there. Like, I went to
every night's a sleepover.
Right, like, I went to an all-guys school, but on the weekends, like, we interacted with women, we had women teachers. I went home to my mom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, those dudes all live there. And
and when you put a bunch of people together like that.
I mean, they were, like, that's what I'm saying. My personal experience, they were strange dudes.
As a kid, you're kind of a derelict, you know what I mean? So it's like, you're going to get really smart really fast on a lot of things when you're living together constantly.
But none of it academic.
As a bunch of kids, and none of it's going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, all right, so let's move on to the next one. Bill Cosby sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison for drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand in 2004. He was also hit with a $25,000 fine and declared a sexually violent predator. Prosecutors initially asking for 5 to 10. His lawyers were pushing for house arrest. The sentence was reduced from a maximum of 30 years after some of the charges were combined, as Bill is 81 years old. Cosby, basically, I guess, will be in there for 3 to 10, is from what we understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep that in mind.
Okay, so he's going to be there for 3 to 10. And then this story yesterday.
So 3 to 10 for that.
And I believe this comes, I want to say this comes from Deadspin, where I pulled this. Yesterday it says you got the disturbing news of the Comerica Park Food Services employee. Am I saying that right, Comerica?
That's what I keep saying. I don't know if it's, or Comerica. I'll just go Comerica.
Comerica Park. What is Comerica? If I said, like, hey, I want to buy something from Comerica, what would I be buying?
Insurance? I'm guessing. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's why.
There's a lot of companies that sponsor things for, like, I'm not sure.
But usually they would say, like, Comerica Financial or, Comerica Automotive.
For life.
I'm going to say it's a communications company.
Okay. I'm going to go finance.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go. They're a bank. No, they're not. You would know the bank. You would have heard of them.
That's why I like.
How many people have heard of M&T Bank?
I think they're insurance.
You say insurance?
I think they're insurance.
Comerica?
That's strong.
Comerica.
That's strong.
I think they're insurance.
I'm going to say finance. You say insurance. What do you got, Ted?
I'm still saying it's some kind of communications, something to do with that.
Comerica Communications.
Don't tell us yet, though. We don't want to know.
Yeah, we don't want to know.
I was going to say, I like the simple ones, like, welcome to Target Field. I get that. I shop at Target.
Yeah.
Nobody questions.
It's a bullseye out
Minute
here.
Maid Park. Sweet. Frozen juices.
Right.
And they built it quickly.
So, basically it was a video of a guy making a pizza, and he's got the dough down, and right before he's about ready to spread the tomato sauce, man, he lays down just a big old wet loogie.
Can we get the wedding puke sound?
Representatives of the Detroit Tigers said the incident took place during the Tigers' home game against the Kansas City Royals. Person who posted the video on Instagram, believe it or not, they deleted that, said the employee was mad and having a bad day, and also claimed that this was not his first offense.
Oh, that's comforting.
Detroit Sports Service, the company that provides food and beverage concessions there, released a statement claiming that the food stand was closed and all the product was being thrown away once the company learned of the incident. According to Fox 2 Detroit, 20-year-old Jalen Curley facing 1 count of food law violations, which is a 4-year felony.
And that's why I keep that. So if you spit on a pizza, you can face 4 years in jail. If you drug and rape a woman, it's 3 to 10.
Yes, that's correct, according to the Cosby rule. He is expected to be arraigned on charges sometime. I believe he already was arraigned.
I think it was Tuesday. I want to say he went in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
4 years, man.
I mean, look, that's a bad thing to do.
It's a horrible thing.
But
yes.
You don't need to put somebody in jail for that long.
I look at it like this, right? Like, look, if that is worth 4 years in jail, then Bill Cosby should have been executed. If what Bill Cosby did is only worth 3 to 10 years in jail, then this guy should have paid a $200 fine.
Sometimes I'll take a bite, or like I'll take a big spoonful, that is like the cooking spoon, and then I'll stir it. You know what I mean? So kind of like if you eat in my house, you're kind of eating a little of my spit.
But that's acceptable.
Is that acceptable?
I think it's acceptable at someone's house because, man, you understand that, but you can't work at a restaurant.
Just think about that. Any certain time that you go to someone's house,
sure,
you're eating an acceptable amount of the cooked saliva.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Okay.
Your sweat, your saliva.
Well, dude, I don't doubt that I've eaten somebody's spit and food. Like,
oh, I guarantee it. You ever eaten in my house?
Right. But just something random like that.
It's salty.
Right? Or there's that guy.
Yeah, I mean,
you think you've been called out intentionally? Like, I hate him, I'm going to spit in his food?
No, but I just think on the average of how much I've eaten out over time, like, I've eaten some spit.
Well, sure. Yeah, I think we all have.
I think everyone has, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's just inevitable.
You don't want to even know what you put in your mouth.
That is the truth of it, right? As long as you can't tell.
You don't want to know.
It doesn't matter, right? So if someone hocked a loogie on your Big Mac, but you didn't know, I just wouldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, man, he doesn't need to know he's fine. If you tell him, he's going to start feeling ill.
Even Kraft didn't want to tell people they weren't eating, like, all Parmesan. It was mostly, like, wood
glue and stuff.
Right, exactly. Well, it's a little sawdust mixed with some Parmesan.
And you were still like, that. Everyone complains. Can you believe it? It's wood pulp.
I've been eating sawdust. God damn it.
And you know what we did? We bought more.
Whether you wanted it or not, what ended up in your mouth? 844. I grade it myself now. 844-999-OLA.
That's because that's how you are. It has nothing to do with the wood pulp.
Yes, it does.
It does not.
Actually, it does.
You do this kind of stuff anyway.
Would. I would do that anyway, probably.
Yeah. Man, everyone heard, and nobody cares.
It's so much better.
I feed it to my children.
You just shave it like that?
No, I'm just saying, there's some wood in there. Whatever. I ate the wood. Everyone you know is eating the wood. You eat the wood too.
Right.
You're fine.
So I just got to ask, if you order a pizza, you take the time to grade your own Parmesan?
No, normally they'll give you a little packet in there, and it doesn't come from Woodinville, so I use that. It's not crap.
Woodinville.
It's like DiGiorgio's or something.
DiGiorgio's.
Like Tony's harsh.
You just say the name Tony. People think Italian food's good. Oh, Tony's Pizza?
Anthony's Parmesan. Eat this.
Yeah.
Hello, Will. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, hola.
Hola.
Yeah, I was a weapons loader for the U.S. Air Force, and we were getting ready to load a bomb on one of our fighters. And I went over to grab a drink or my Mountain Dew, I think it was, from where our toolbox was. And when I grabbed my drink, I started to tip it back, take a big swig of it before we start loading the munition. And as soon as I took a drink of it, I swallowed, and I felt something in my mouth, and then a really bad pinch. I was like, what the heck? I spit out whatever it was in my mouth, and there was a freaking honeybee or a bee that stung me where my bottom lip meets my gum line.
They call that doing the do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess.
Did your lips swell up instantly?
It didn't swell up instantly, but about halfway through our load, getting the bomb on the jet, about halfway through it, I couldn't talk very good.
I mean, look, man, I don't know a lot of details about what you do, but from the outside looking in, it seems like the moment I would want you to be able to communicate clearly is when I'm doing something like loading a bomb onto a fighter.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
handy to be able to talk to each other.
I really need to understand what you're saying.
By constantly loading these bombs on these fighters, that these bombs are in use?
Oh, yeah. This is in the desert.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah.
Oh, we got you.
Yeah.
Damn, a bee, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Never been stung in the mouth by a bee.
I have. I've had that exact same
mouth?
thing. I've had the exact same thing happen to me.
Inside the mouth.
Inside the mouth. Yeah, totally. I mean,
feel like that's happened a ton to people, especially with sodas in summer.
Okay, it changes your perspective on drinking out of cans.
Sure.
One of the main reasons that I always like to drink out of a cup is because that happened to me. And I really, truly believe, like, sometimes even in a bottle you wouldn't be able to see it. But after that happens to you, you don't want to drink out of a can anymore. And even when I get a can now, I mean, with the exception of, I guess...
Well, we're indoors, right?
I will pour it into a glass. If there's a red glass, I will pour it in there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be able to see in my cup. Not because I'm afraid of a bug's in there or whatever. I'm afraid I'm going to get zapped again by a bee.
My father, to this day, and I'd ask him when I was younger,
you got to put a napkin on top. Like,
he always rests his hand on top.
So conscious of that.
And I'd always ask him, it's just weird, because everyone else wants to finish their drink because it's summer and it's getting warm, but you're resting your hand on top. And he said, look, man, years ago when he was a kid, I want to say it was his uncle, took a swig of Coke, but it hit his upper lip, and he said before his uncle could say, I think I got stung, his lip had already swollen up.
Yeah, exactly. And you have no idea. I mean, it's almost like...
He can't tell the story without laughing.
If there's one place in your body for some reason that can blow up like a balloon, it is your lips. They really can. Like, I don't think... I mean, you could get a boil someplace or whatever, but I mean, as far as just like it looks like there's like a pocket of...
Why is that?
I don't know.
It's like the worst freaking place,
You ever seen those
man.
pictures of the dogs that, like, bite a bee or something by mistake?
Oh, no.
It's just funny because their whole snout is all right. It's always like he lost a fight with a bee.
Whether you wanted it or not, what ended up in your mouth? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Jason. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Well, I had a similar story there, fellas. I also got stung, but in a different scenario. I was a kid riding a bike up a hill. And, you know, when you're riding up a bike up a hill, you're kind of exerting yourself. You start to stand up. You get more oomph behind the bike. And, well, I had my mouth open. And, yeah, bee flew in my mouth, stung me on the tongue.
I mean, how bad did your tongue swell up?
Pretty decent size for a tongue, you know. And I don't know what the remedy is now for a bee sting, if it's still the same. But, you know, I went home and try to get mom to take the stinger out. You can't really do that too well on a tongue. You can't do the baking soda treatment on a tongue. So it's just kind of one of those things you just had to kind of...
Got to ride it out. You can gargle salt water. That's about it.
I mean, I almost feel like it's personal on the bees. I mean, think of it. You're a bee, all right? Here is a kid, mouth hanging open. Think about all of the space around the kid's mouth that the bee could have chosen to fly, and instead it's like, nah, I'm going right for that open, wet target.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I thought it was a fly at first until obviously I got a little pinch there in the tongue, like the other gentleman called, and boy,
I was a lot of pain for the next few hours, that's for sure.
You know what, man? I've never had, never gotten stung in the mouth, but there is, if you remember, toward the end of the first movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the guy who ends up getting his face melted off, spoiler alert, the guy who ends up getting his face melted, German guy. Like any bad guy in a movie, before you do the big thing you've been trying to do, you must have some big long speech, right, to the good guy to tell him how they failed, how you're going to take over. So in this scene, the one thing I remember seeing this as a kid, people repeat it now. As he's going through his big long speech, you'll see a fly land on his lip. It goes in his mouth, and he just keeps going. All right? I found out years later, he was very aware that a fly had landed on his mouth and climbed inside, but he didn't want to cut the scene because he was filming, so he just kept going. So if you see this movie and you see this fly land on the actor's mouth, it's at the end, he's saying it goes in his mouth, and he clearly eats and swallows this fly. That was not part of the script. It's not something he wanted to do. He just did it to keep the cameras rolling.
That's good acting.
Well, time is money.
What I've read about that movie was it was so hot they didn't even want to do 2 takes on any scene.
Maybe that's I'll eat a fly.
No,
I will eat this fly.
That's why he ends up shooting the guy. It's like,
Right.
we're not going to keep it.
Right.
Whether you wanted it or not, what ended up in your mouth? 844-999-OLA. More of your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
A Kentuckian Harvey Westmoreland didn't want any trouble when he tried to sell his lawnmower to some friends, but trouble sure found him. What happened, according to Gawker.com? Harvey says everything just went haywire. They cut my beard, and they forced me to eat it. In case you missed that one more time, one night last year, Harvey went by to meet up with his brother Joseph and their friends, Troy Holt and James Hill. Joseph, Troy, and James were already drunk at that point, and Troy asked Harvey about his lawnmower. Troy offered to buy it from me for $250. I paid $20 for it. He thought I was trying to cheat him, said Westmoreland. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, there were knives and guns, and everything just went haywire. They cut my beard, and they forced me to eat it. His beard has grown back, though. Harvey says it's not as long as it was before he ate it. Hill and Holt both pled guilty to assault. Our question, whether you wanted it or not, what ended up in your mouth? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Kit. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola!
Hola!
All right, so just a little preface here. I'm a plumber.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So this happened now when I was in Arizona. There's a condo unit down in the basement. It received the sewage from toilets, showers, all that good stuff. And this receptor has a pump down in there.
Now I have to ask you a question. Is it just for this one unit, or is it for all of the units in the building? So
okay, no, there was 20 units. This just received the sewage for 4 of the units.
All right. Okay, gotcha. So this is not just for only that apartment, but it's for 2 or 3 others.
That's like a bread, appetizer, entree, and dessert.
Gotcha.
Correct. Yes. It had the a la carte menu all going on for it.
Yeah. Chef special.
So I get down in there. The pump's not working, and the little closet area that's receiving it all is overflowing with sewage. So my first instinct, as with any plumber, is to turn the power off to it. And so I go to the breaker box, and, on the little list there, it's all written in pencil, which is all faded away, which was great. So what I could make out as saying sewage pump, we shut that off and go back down and go to pull the pump out, get it all disconnected. I would start lifting the pump out, and this pipe, a 2-inch pipe, was wet, slimy, nasty. I get it about halfway up out of the receptor, and it slips out from underneath, from out my hands, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. Same time now, I'm being drenched. It's in my nose, it's in my face, it's in my mouth, it's in my ears, it's all over my clothes.
All right, let's.
What is it exactly?
You know what it is. Add 2 more letters.
Yes.
He left the quiet part off of it. We're just calling it it.
What
so it got all over it.
I say. What is it?
He was covered in it. So
I feel like Faith No More asking questions.
What is it? So when you I'm assuming spitting it out of your mouth is the first course of action. And then getting out of my eyes is next. What is third?
There was the lunch prior to that, and then probably the breakfast and the dinner that I had the previous night also came out that day.
Oh, man.
All over the place.
So, I mean, but you are covered head to toe as well, right?
Did you get sick?
Oh, yeah. No, it shot out because on them they have a float that turns the pump on and off. Well, apparently that's what was the issue was, but I couldn't, see it because it was completely covered. So
that's problematic.
When I dropped the pump because it slipped out from under my hands, it cleared whatever blockage that was, and then sent it into my nostrils and my nose, and my face. And
Get real quick before I let you go. What is, in fact, we ask this of all our plumbers that call the show. What's the biggest turd you've ever seen?
Technically, it was 5 pounds, 7 ounces.
Wow. How do you know how much you weigh? Did you weigh it?
Yes, we did.
Wait a minute.
It was so impressive that you made it a point to preserve this thing and weigh it.
Yes.
What did you put it in, a plastic baggie? A Ziploc gallon?
A 5-gallon bucket.
You put it in?
We picked it up out of the toilet, and then the customer had their little scale thing sitting there right next to them.
Yeah.
And we just put the bucket right on top of that, and it was 5 pounds, 7 ounces.
Did you zero out the bucket?
We guessed.
All right, okay, all right, close enough. So it's like 6.5.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You've seen the stranger's turd that is so impressive
was like,
that you pulled it. Hey, do me a favor and hang up. I want to see if phone dong works today, too, by the way.
Oh, you want to hear the phone dong?
Yeah, phone dong time.
Here we go. Phone dong coming up in 2 seconds.
You won it? 5 pounds, 7 ounces. The heavyweight champion of the world.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.
All right, showtime. You ready?
Born ready.
Great. Did you bring the dongle?
What's a dongle?
Never mind. We'll just show them on your laptop.
I was supposed to bring my laptop?
Don't panic. You shared the presentation with me, right?
I forgot.
Well, if you log in, then we can...
My password. I was about to say I forgot my password.
You ordered the food through EasyCater, right?
Yes?
We'll be fine.
Food can make or break a presentation, so make sure you order at EasyCater.com. Individually packaged food delivered right on time. How? EasyCater.